Legal practitioner Festus Ogun speaks more on the Chrisland scandal. He joins me now virtually. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So this is a very sensitive case because it involves minors, and one has to be very careful not to break any child protection law in the process of conversation. But let me ask you about your legal assessment of all the facts that have been put out there, whether by parents or the school itself.
Well, for me, as far as I'm concerned, I do not see a case of rape as scandalous, as shameful, as disturbing that the news we've been hearing since, about 2 days ago. I do not see a case of rape as far as I'm concerned, looking at our extant laws. I do not see any case of rape. What I see principally is a sort of sexual violence amongst minors that is principally occasioned by the failure of society. I'm saying this because, yes, it would have been a different case entirely if it was an arrangement or a case between a minor and an adult. But in this instance case, we have a case of two minors who were caught or involved in a very disturbing situation, right? But if we are saying, look, we want to emphasize on law, then the male partner would be criminally liable. Looking at it deeply, we might hold the male partner liable. But that is not a concern. My concern is that this is not even the time for us to talk about laws, because laws are made for men and not the other way around. I do not think this is the right time for us to even talk about laws. This is the time for us to really interrogate our value system. This is the time for us to really interrogate what our country is becoming. This is the time to interrogate the decadence, moral decadence in our society. This is the time to point at the level of decadence, the level of failure, not just on the part of the
and
parents,
I want to get to the issue of decadence in just a moment. But I read a comment by renowned senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, where he talked about the school and the role that the school played. He feels that there is a case against the school. If this were to ever get to court, who is the case against, and what do you think the charges might be?
Well, as far as I know, I am convinced that the failure of the school to divulge the information, to inform the parents of the whole issue, the whole saga, not just that, going ahead to carry out multiple tests as reported in the news, to me seems to be a crime. A violation of not just the rights of that child, it's equally morally reprehensible. And that is why I feel that the school has a case to answer, specifically in relation to their failure to inform the parents before administering multiple tests on that child. In fact, concealing the facts of that very incident to the parents and even to the authorities seem to be a crime to me under the Nigerian law. They must be made to answer questions, because it has gone beyond the issue right between the parents and the school now. It is now an issue of public interest. So they must answer serious questions. Having said that, I would continue to emphasize that this is not even the time for us to talk about the law. This is the time for us to interrogate our value system, because our future is endangered if kids can be involved in things like this.
Absolutely. It is a sign of the level of decadence in a society. But let me also ask you, we understand that a lot of people have been sharing this, which of course we know that it shouldn't be done at all because of there are minors involved. We understand that is tantamount to child pornography. So what is the sensitivity of that in terms of people who are sharing, receiving, and even redistributing content like this?
It is a crime under the Nigerian law. In fact, when you look at Section 24 of the Cyber Crimes Act, enacted in 2015, it is a crime to share any form of explicit content on social media. It is a crime under the Nigerian law. To share, to receive, it is a crime. I'm not
so basically, sorry, just to ask. So the person who might have leaked this video, because we do not know where the source of this video is that is now being shared, is there a case against the person from which this video emerged in the first place?
Absolutely. I think it also behoves on the authorities to investigate properly who indeed leaked the video to public domain, especially given the fact that it relates to minors. We ought to ordinarily protect these people, these young people, the future of our country. They ought to be thoroughly protected. But even beyond the case of minors, you cannot share explicit consent arbitrarily without any sort of discretion on social media. In fact, mere receiving it, mere sharing it, given the fact that you are not the very author, puts you in a criminal liability. That's the law.
Absolutely.
But it seems to me
sure
that the laws are not principally enforced in Nigeria, and that is why we see that.
And absolutely, and I'm sure that this conversation continues because it is really, again, it is disturbing and it is sensitive. So one has to be. I mean, it's two sides of the coin. With the angle you kept talking about, which is moral decadence. Thank you so much for talking to us. We'll see how the case plays out. Legal practitioner Festus Ogun, thank you for talking to us.